Hello, fellow book lovers of the internet. It's Cecil. It is Wednesday, and after far too long, we are back with some writing goals. Despite not having the energy to film or post a writing vlog for most of last year, I did continue to make a lot of progress in my research and my outlining. So, the world is coming together in ways I never could have predicted, and it feels full and fleshed out. So, progress is slow alongside my 50 bazillion other projects. I am happy with where I'm at. I think that I have a relatively good understanding now of the most important biological and quantum physical aspects of the world, and I'm excited to find that the more theories that I read, the more scientifically sound my existing ideas become. So, really, all that's left is to make a decision on how long I want the book to be, which, as a rather long winded person, is probably the hardest part. Back when I had first written the book, I was set on the idea that it could never have a sequel. I wanted to leave it open and unsatisfying. I was 16. It was the mid-2010s, and we were all being force-fed the idea that an unhappy ending and plot twist no one could reasonably predict were signs of good and realistic writing, and also the original book sucked and didn't really have anywhere it could go before. But now I'm seeing minimum a duology, if not a trilogy, and that idea no longer terrifies me. It excites me. I have fallen back in love with the story after 2 years of setting to work and committing to make it into something I could love again. So, honestly, earnestly, thank you for joining me as I've done that. Even though there have been irregular updates on my end, the few times I have managed to set goals and post a video about it have sustained me, and now we're at this beautiful point. So going forward, I think I will be focusing instead on doing quarterly writing vlogs instead of monthly. That way, when life inevitably gets in the way, disability, going back to school after 7 years, family things, etc., I don't have quite as much self-imposed pressure to show measurable progress. Granted, I don't think my progress the last 2 years is very measurable either, beyond something maybe like notes and the length of the outline. But there's no way to measure my growing understanding of quantum mechanics or biochemistry, nor to measure the way that my feelings have gone from anxious apprehension to excited optimism. With quarterly updates, I'll also be able to set slightly broader goals than the itty-bitty ones that just carry us over a 30-day period, which then frees up some video slots to discuss things such as relationship or character or world building. So, that is what we will do. But long-winded yapping aside, goals. Number 1, I'm going to finish the dang outline. First and foremost, I need to finish writing the outline. I'm kind of stuck at a transitional part of the narrative, which doesn't surprise me. I struggle with beginnings, endings, and transitions. The part of writing I excel at is the middle bit, where things are flowing and happening, and I think that's probably related to the autism and ADHD, but hey, I've written transitions before, and I'll do it again. Part of the issue lies in how much time I want to skip. If I keep the entire story that was originally one book within one book, then it covers 2 years' time. That's possible, and even possible to do without drawing out the fluff longer than feels right. My fear lies in finding the balance. I don't want to sacrifice potential moments for character and relationship growth for the sake of the plot, but I also don't want to sacrifice the plot for my blorbos. I've read books that were too drawn out and things that ultimately moved neither the story nor the actors forward. And I've also read books that skipped over so many potential character and dynamic building that I never felt myself caring about any of them. So where is that balance? I will have to grapple with that and make my final decisions so that I can wrap up the outline and, by extension, decide just how many books will be going into this series. Number 2, flesh out that villain. If I had a Facebook relationship status with this book's antagonist, it would probably be set to "it's complicated." I know him quite well, know his motivations and history, but it's also intrinsic to my concept of him that I've completely lost on how to communicate it to others. Putting it into words always has me feeling like it's just left of correct. He's a redeemable villain. As for whether or not he gets to be redeemed is my personal secret, but he certainly has the ingredients for it if he wanted to be redeemed. He is also unlikable. I think that's a pretty fun combination. Many times, irredeemable villains are unlikable, redeemable ones are likable, and there's some overlap, but not a whole bunch. I love me an irredeemable bastard with Riz, and I love a pathetic wet cat loser with a moral compass. My antag definitely is more of a pathetic wet cat loser. And I also know for certain that there will be plenty of people who like him, have a soft spot for him, or understand where he's coming from, and that is the goal. But my protagonist, as much as they can cognitively empathize with him, will always want to punch that guy in the face for good reason. And because that's good reason, there will also be plenty of readers who, when looking through Heather's eyes at him, will agree that he deserves to be punched in the face. Because he does. I want to work on putting all of these little things about him and his motivations into words so that everybody can come to their own conclusions about him. I also need to decide how often he is honest versus when he bends the truth. I want to decide if he ever confronts his own hypocrisy and cognitive dissonance. I know Heather confronts it. That was never a question, but I need to know I need to know about him. I just want to figure out how to express this character that has lived in my brain for almost a decade now. And number 3, wormholes. The only thing that I'm really struggling to rationalize is wormholes and how they function. Like, I can rationalize it, but I also can't. The biggest issue I have is trying to think of how they would create a wormhole that got them generally where they wanted to go and have it remain stable enough to not collapse into a singularity and have it be traversable in both directions. And I have it on good authority that this exact problem has made physicists cry before. I am going to join them on crying. And I know it's science fiction. Just hand wave it. Make something up. Cecil, it's literally fine. This is your book. Do what you want. I can't. The autism has bound me to the laws of space-time as much as possible, and if I cannot convince myself that it could theoretically maybe work, how am I supposed to convince you that it works? I am currently learning as much as I can about the theories, and I know you can't 100% accurately depict something that's literally never been done before. I know, but man, I wish I could. The amount of research I will be continuing to do is probably unreasonable, but it's going to be done. If I put this much work into creating aliens who could respirate by acetogenesis, then it's only right to do the same with wormholes until I've reached the most logical conclusion for me. We will get there, and we'll get there this year even. The goals seem straightforward, but that's what I've grappled with for the past 2 years as I delve back into the story. I want to make it good. I want to bring life to the world that's been in my head for almost 10 years now, and this year we're going to do it. I will continue to make progress, and soon we will have an actual full book for you to read. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below sharing some of your writing goals for the year if you have any. Are they more conceptual like mine, or maybe you have a certain number of words or pages or chapters you'd like to get through? Let me know. You can also follow me in the links in the description box below, including my Ko-fi and Patreon, where there may be special access to things coming to supporters in the nearest future. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.